What's happening there? What's Pole Guy? That's Pole Guy. What's he doing? I never know what he's doing in a mullet and shorts. He's got a floppy jersey. Look at him climbing like he's on some kind of mission. Look at that guy go. Look where he ends up. How about the Canadiens, the team heading to the Stanley Cup Finals? And the Canadian people have themselves a new hero. Pole Guy, street pole guy. I love it so much.
I can see you doing that, Jenna. Jenna, you can do that.
Of course I could do that.
Your fitness level's right there.
In a jersey.
So Devin Booker debuted a new character, Masked Devin Booker. Didn't love it, didn't play great. He said he didn't really bother him, but we kind of have some signs that it bothered him. One, he didn't shoot well. Two, before the game, he called up the king of masks, Richard Hamilton, according to Mark Spears, if we can show the tweet. He wanted some advice on what's the best way to wear a mask. Former Piston star Rip City Hamilton, prior to Coatesville, PA, told Undefeated received a call from Booker yesterday for advice on how to best play and protect a mask. Rip told him to never take it off during the game and to view it as extra protection from being poked in the eye during drives. Rip previously advised late Kobe Bryant, and he goes on to say, Rip is coming out with his own line of protective masks. So let me just be the first one to inform the First Things First audience. As soon as those masks come out, former UConn star, one of my favorite players, Detroit Pistons champion, Richard Hamilton. I will be wearing a mask every Wednesday via Rip Hamilton. So thank you, Rip.
What?
As soon as the website goes live, I'm going to get my credit card in there immediately.
Why on Wednesday?
Because I don't know.
A real
you know
thing?
what the best mask is, right? The best mask. What? LeBron's black
What's
mask.
What's the ROI on a mask company?
That's the best one.
Mask company.
Really?
Speaking of masks, can we talk a little drawing a blank? Mavericks are
businessman.
What's the KPIs and metrics on that
reportedly
business?
finalizing a deal to make Jason Kidd their next head coach. The Hall of Famer Kidd spent 8 seasons where? In Dallas as a player, including on that 2011 title team. Brandon, Jason Kidd is the next Mavs head coach. Should have Luka Doncic feeling blank. What's your mask?
Ooh, this is like stepson. Man, look, Nick, what do you say? This is your large adult Slovenian son? Is that what you're saying here?
You
That's
nailed
what you've
it.
been saying?
You nailed it.
You're a jealous type of guy. And this is all bad for you. You're about to lose your son to another man. That's what's going to happen because you got a coach, Rick Carlisle, who just left Dallas. They were there for 13 years, and now he's in Indiana. And in his press conference, he's saying, I hope Jason Kidd gets the gig because they are 1 and 2 in the same when it comes to person and also the qualities on the court. So you are about to lose your son because these two guys together is the perfect match. It's the perfect type of situation. So we're going to have to switch out these little pictures, put Jason Kidd's picture right there because this is happening, and Luka is going to fall in love with Jason Kidd. It's over for you. How do you feel about it?
Okay,
now
so
you have this
over.
blended family.
It's over.
Listen, I got no problem with blended families, but I don't like this at all. And we can take this off. This really bothers Jenna in a visceral way. She took her glasses
I
off
had to
just
take
so
my
she could
glasses
not see
off,
the screen.
so I
There we
couldn't
go.
even watch it.
I know, Jen. I
Now I
saw
can't
you
see
do it.
anything.
I saw you do it. This ain't great. Wilds, I've never quite seen a guy step down suddenly to go take a new job and then be like, by the way, here's who my successor should be. And one of the reasons Rick Carlisle reportedly is leaving, or left, I should say, was because he and Luka didn't get along. And so the idea that Rick Carlisle, for a player that I don't think he loved coaching, would be like, hey, here's his perfect next coach. And then they hire that guy. I don't love it. When LeBron went to the Lakers, everyone's like, oh, Jason Kidd's going to get the job. I didn't love that. I just would like the instance or the example that anyone can bring me that Jason Kidd is a good NBA coach. I've never seen it. I watched him in Brooklyn. Watched him in Milwaukee. This makes me incredibly nervous for Luka. And so I think the Mavs historically are a pretty smart organization, Brandon, but I don't love this hire at all. I don't love it at all.
Listen, no, here's the deal. I can understand that, right? Like, a lot of times when you see these splits or these breakups, they're never nice. But I think this is a good split, and I think Rick Carlisle's really trying to do something good for the Mavericks and Luka. Now, obviously, you know, there's some type of tension and static between the two, and that's what I think he's saying. Not about the qualities, but like, man, there's something off a little bit with Jason Kidd and Luka, and these two together, you're talking about a veteran guy. He could potentially come in and help mold and shape Luka because he's like, look, I've been there, I've done that. Don't make the same mistakes as me. So I think that's Rick Carlisle kind of trying to be good in a way, but also take a little shot.
Okay, well, I've got to think that Luka 100% endorses this. I don't think Cuban would make a move on a head coach that Luka didn't sign off on. And I don't know what evidence you want, Nick, either wins and losses or some, like, great out-of-bounds play. Yeah. But we do know that, like, guys want to be coached by Jason Kidd. Giannis loved Jason Kidd, was, like, heartbroken when he left Milwaukee. We know LeBron wanted him to be the coach. Like, well, you can't be head coach, you can be the assistant coach. That dynamic was always weird with Vogel. And we know Dame wanted him in Portland. So I've got to think if they make the call and that Luka's totally on board. The only other weird thing here, Nick, and give me your take on this. They're like, well, we hired Dirk and, Michael Finley to give a recommendation. Like, how about Jason Kidd? It's like, all right, the deck is sort of stacked, of course. They're all former teammates. They're going to be rooting for Jason Kidd to get the job. So I do kind of like the sort of like, it's almost like a college football program. Like, we are going to hire Mavericks and former Mavericks to sort of lead the new franchise. Right. So I thought that was an interesting.
I kind of like that. I like that. I respect that.
And I do understand the argument that right now, who are the most successful coaches in basketball? Former players, almost across the board. Who's left? Nate McMillan, Monty Williams, Ty Lue. Steve Kerr obviously has done an excellent job. So I do get the idea of we want to go with the former player, particularly the former point guard mold. And you're right, players love him. I don't know Jason. I obviously never played for Jason, but just from watching how well coached his teams are, it just seems like I didn't look at those Nets or Bucks teams and thought, well, that's a really well-coached team. And so it just makes me nervous for Luka. What's up, Brandon?
You forgot Steve Nash when you talked about former players as great coaches. You forgot that guy.
It's a great call.
You want to add him to the list?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't, actually. I didn't forget him.
He remembered, though, that he didn't play for. Time for the weird and the wonderful from our national pastime. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. retaking the Major League Baseball home run lead with a moonshot last night. Count them up. That's 24 now on the season for Vladdy Jr. Pretty wonderful stuff. Wilds, what else you got for us?
Oh, we'll start with the weird. Cleveland and Minnesota. Eddie Rosario steals second. The ball goes into the outfield. He thinks about going to third. Like, you know what? I won't. Boom, gets tagged out. What? But good news. This story ends well. Eddie also had a 2-run single in the 8th that won the game for Cleveland. So you know what?